And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our first quarterfinals match of the night. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing CranKy Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Blue Zerg player, representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. And if you're in the chat, you know what? May as well. We're here in the quarterfinals. Usually we save predictions for the semis, but we will open up predictions for this series. Again, it's a special event, right? Lambo, for the first time in a very long time, going to be competing here in ESL Americas. Some people are asking in the chat, and for those that are curious, as far as I'm aware, I believe both Harstem and Lambo, the reason why they're both currently playing in ESL Americas this week is because they are currently in the Americas, because of DreamHack Atlanta. I believe they're already in the Americas, if I'm not mistaken. Quarterfinals, best of 3, Dark versus Lambo. Just getting those predictions going. So if you're in the chat, place your bets because you have a couple of minutes to actually get your predictions in before they're closed, before they're locked in for this best of 3 series. Good luck. For now, Hatchgas Pool opener here from Lambo. Likewise, the same opener from Dark. Nothing too crazy, nothing too aggressive to begin with. Predictions open. Beautiful. So we are settling on in. For now, everything's looking normal. For now, no major signs of aggression. This should be leading into our third bases, but it's when we take our thirds that we can actually have a look at whether or not our players decide to cut workers, cut tech, or even rush into roaches. And we have seen a lot of decisive play from both Dark and Lambo over the past couple of weeks in ZvZ. I mean, always from Dark, but even from Lambo, we were able to catch him during Hope Story Cup, for example, or even during the IEM qualifiers. Lambo, very willing at the drop of a dime to just cut workers and just mass lings. For now, does come out a little bit worse for wear. Dark gonna be able to force Lambo back. Does force him back for the time being. Again, third bases are on the way. We should soon be seeing Bailey Nest as well, and there it is, Bailey Nest turned down from Lambo, and likewise we see the same from Dark. No one is cutting corners. Both players respecting each other. Again, if you want, you can try to take a risk and try to skip the Bailey Nest and go straight into roaches, but you're just asking for trouble at that point. So neither player that crazy. Dark coming in for a Link Scout, or at least checking. Does get eyes on the Bailey Nest. He is aware. Meanwhile, Lambo across the map getting some damage done here to this hatchery. Quite a bit of damage, actually. Link speed about to kick in. Likewise, a bit of a micro war here between these two links. And up! Ooh, we do trade 1 for 1. Dark barely going to be able to escape. We do have a wave of links on the way here from Lambo. He's droning up behind this. Meanwhile, Dark getting some safe Bailings back at home. Roach Warren is thrown down behind the mineral line. Dark will have access to not even faster roaches. Lambo going for his own Roach Warren on time as well. Both players taking at around the same time. And both players droning as well. Lambo, he was threatening a counterattack, and he did force out Bailings, but outside of that, both players are still just saturating their bases. No one is committing. Not yet. No one is committing yet. You can see Dark there trying to bait out one of those Bailings, doesn't quite get it. And both players, their goal here is to get eyes on the saturation. They need to make sure that the opposing player is in fact droning. And that's exactly what Lambo is doing with this Link Scout. Does get eyes on 4 workers here at the third. And an extra drone coming in. Tries to go for the Bailing. Is going to be saved. And up! Ooh, Lambo asleep at the wheel there for a moment. Does lose one of his Bailings. Nice pickoff. Not the biggest of deals, but getting a Bailing here or there is definitely something we're looking for here at this stage of the game. As we see Dark once again threatening a counterattack. Lambo getting in position, morphing in more Bailings. Meanwhile, behind this Dark, he just droned. Just made a wave of workers. Likewise, so is Dark, unflinching. Sorry, so is Lambo, unflinching. Just droning up, fully saturating his third. And should soon be getting into roach production as well. So basically, I love what we've just seen right now. We've seen both Lambo and Dark just like posture and puff off their chests with Ling Bane. And the entire time they've just been droning. They've just been chilling. Bailey's gonna be waddling on in. Up! Oh my god. Quick split there from Lambo. He goes straight. The Lings, they get in. They do get into the natural base. They get a surround on one of the queens, and they should be able to get it. It's going to be close, but one queen does go down. And the Lings, they get into the main base, confirming no Spire, roach production, the gases. And even 5 workers went down to the Bailings here on the left-hand side. Dark getting damage done. And just like that, Dark, he takes an economic lead. And now we're getting to roach v roach. Now, Lambo did just invest into Overlord speed. We have Dropper Lords on the way. This is a good way to come back, a good way to do some counter damage. Bailings and Roaches can be dropped. They can be sent out. Overseer coming in, just making sure, likewise, that there is no Spire. Here it goes. Bailing drop across the map. Roaches are still amassing. Speaking of, Roach drop going over towards the main. Again, this has been very trendy, very popular amongst the European Zerg players to go for Dropper Lord play like this. We'll see if Dark can keep up. But now he does have eyes on this.
Our forces are under attack.
Does have eyes on these Dropper Lords, but he doesn't know whether or not it's Bailings or Roaches. They're coming in. There we go. He does pull back. Does pull away. Oh, he's going for the drones. No. Ooh, does catch 3. 3 workers will go down at the same time. Drop Lord towards the main base still hasn't arrived yet. We actually go for the 4th. As we're back, we still have 2 Bailings. Oh my god. We still have 2 Bailings, and they will connect, taking down 7 drones in total. Very nice damage here from Lambo. Very patient as well. Again, in ZvZ, you have very limited anti-air, and we were able to get quite an amount of drones. And with that, Lambo, he retakes the lead. Roaches are pushing right through the center. Drop Lord into the main. Dark having a hard time keeping up. Looks like a queen may go down. It will fall. A second queen as well. We're going to be lacking injects. This is brutal. As Lambo, he's pushing in. And can he snowball out of control? Heading towards the bases here of Dark. Gets an Overlord. Splitting up his forces. Going to try to threaten the 4th and the 3rd. But we see Dark going for the surround. He comes in from behind. He catches the army. A much better fight. Cleaning up so many of these roaches. A much more efficient fight for Dark. Catching reinforcements as well. Lambo, he did an amazing job harassing. But here in the main fight, lacking a little bit. Caught off guard. And Darky's going straight for the hatchery, straight for the 4th base. Yeah, Biles, they zone away the roaches. Drones are going to be going down, and this base is going to fall. At the same time, we have a drop load into the main, but reinforcements, they will deal with it. And Dark, he's not happy with the 4th. He wants to go for the army. Ooh, does take some Biles to the face. Likewise, so is Lambo. And it looks like Lambo, he should have enough to defend. Meanwhile, Dark, is he going to he lets the base live? Oh my god. The 4th base does survive. Lambo going for his own counterattack. Ay, ay, ay. And Dark getting a little bit too ambitious there. The hatchery will survive for the time being. Can always just pick off, or just move out with a handful of roaches, try to pick it off. Can always try to go for that. Meanwhile, the other difference here is that Lambo did invest into Burrow and Tunneling Claws. So he can regenerate his HP. Even if he doesn't harass with these roaches, and he will, but even if he doesn't, he does have that much more maneuverability here with his army. Utility with his army is maybe a better way to put it. There we go, roaches towards the 4th base. Dark going to try to hold onto the ramp. But Lassie's out of position, drones are going down. Reinforcements should save the hatchery. But Lambo picks up another 4 workers. Lambo now with a big worker lead. Still going to extend that. And they're rotating around. Dark trying to keep up. Losing the Overseer. Meanwhile, these roaches being so annoying. Another 5 workers go down. Ooh. Whilst they will be connecting, but Lambo, does he have enough? It looks like he does. He forces back the army, and unlike Dark, I believe Lambo should get a kill in this base. Yeah, hatchery goes down. Dark going for his own counterattack, or at least trying to. But Lambo is in position, has plenty of roaches to defend, and Lambo he backs off. Meanwhile, Dark, tit for tat. We're trading a base for a base, as he finally does get a kill in that hatchery. Meanwhile, Dark is racing back home. Does he have enough? Does he have enough to defend? So far he does. Let's force it back. You can see Dark trying to cut off this army. Likewise, Lambo coming into support. And Lambo, he will escape. Dark likewise backing off. Lambo, meanwhile, getting a backup Roach Warren in the main base. We have a Spire on the way as well for Mutas. Still mainly Roach v Roach, but Lambo taking up even further with the better economy. Makes sense. He has the spare resources to pull this off. Meanwhile, Dark is still stuck on just pure Roach Ravager. And he can still make this work. Dark does have a larger army because he has less workers. Does have more army supply here, forcing a cancel on the 4th. Lambo knows he cannot hold on to it. He cannot save it. Gonna be double expanding. Both players trying to retake their 4th bases. Spire on the way for Dark, but it's gonna be later than that of his opponent. Dark may have to go into Corruptors because of that. Because the Mutas should be revealed first. Up. Catching some Overlords. Overseer coming in, and Dark, he has a Changelings in the main, but he hasn't seen the Spire. He hasn't gone to the natural. Lambo with a bit of a misclick there does kill one of his own Overlords. But Dark, we just need to go to the natural. He's so close. Even still has the Overseer here as well. The Spire is done. +1 air attack is on the way. Dark, he checks the 3rd base, soon to check the 4th as well. Changelings go down. Dark does miss the tech. Now, thankfully, because both players are more or less maxed out, we haven't invested into Mutas yet, which means the Spire of Dark is also finishing up at the same time, or in time. Not in upgrades, but finishing nonetheless. The game has settled. Both players have banks. Lambo has the larger bank because he's had a higher worker count for longer. He does it the concave. Whilst they connect. Big Biles there on those Ravagers. Lambo has to back off. Getting into 19 Mutas behind this. That's a lot of Mutas, and they will have the upgrade advantage momentarily as well. Meanwhile, Lambo, he will be losing a hatchery. He's going to be losing 2. Lambo getting pulled apart here. Bases are going down, but Mutas are on the way. And they can make up for it. That could be the game-winning move here for Lambo. There it is, the Mutas have been revealed. They dive on top of the army, dive on top of the Ravagers. Oh, and Dark, he's going to be losing a lot here in the retreat. And Lambo, he's pushing. He is committing. Spores are on the way. They're trying to reposition. Dark has to turn and fight here and now. Forces back some of the army. Mutas, they engage. But Lambo, he can take a fight. Can take a fight. Dark, he should be able to win here on the ground. He's trying to force his way forward. Mutas, they do back up. To the safety of the Spores. Dark, he barely does hold. And remember, behind this, he did kill the 4th and the 5th base of Lambo. Lambo down to 47 workers. But still had the larger bank. Here's they pick off a Ravager. Still very close between both players. Mutas, they can shut down some of these Overlords. Dark with a better economy, and both players are they're trying to get into Hydraulic and Viper. Hydras are on the way. Looking at the unit counts, we have 33 Mutas against the 30 of Dark. Remember, Lambo also has +1 air attack. Oh, the Queen. Queen does get picked off. Jesus, there's so many mutas. And Dark, he can't really fight this. Not even with his own mutas. It's just not possible. He has to engage Lambo, the higher muta count, the better upgrades as well. And Dark, he has to back off, losing a big chunk of his mutas in the process. And it looks like Lambo, he may just have too much. Hydras are on the way. They're coming in to reinforce. The Biles not quite connecting, and can Dark fight this back? He wins the fight on the ground and he forces back the mutas just barely. Lambo, he's doubling down on muta production. He invested into the hydrogen, but no, he doesn't care. Making nothing but lings and mutas. A bold move here from Lambo. Dark is hydra count getting higher and higher. Well, some of these overlords do get caught. Bit of a miss rally from Dark. Meanwhile, counterattacking with his own mutas, there aren't any spores here. We'll get a Queen. We'll get a Queen at least. Mutas, they've rotated over towards the third base. Not much here to defend, but if they do stop at any moment, then Lambo will kill these mutas. We'll shut them down. Yeah, these mutas, there's no way out of this. Throughout all of this, though, we're massing hydras. We've been amassing hydras this entire time. Almost every muta goes down. But the hydras, they have arrived. Do we have a lurker den? We don't. Uh-oh. No lunkers. That means these Bailings, they have so much potential. Bailing speed is done. The lurkers are necessary here against the ground army. Without them, these hydras are so exposed. Here we go. The Bailings are going to be rolling on in. The hydras, they split, but the Bailings, they connect with the hydras nonetheless. And it looks like we may just have too much. The mutas are thinning out though. Transfuse, clutch transfuse here from Dark. Keeping the queens alive, keeping enough hydras alive as well. We are still on 21 mutas. 19. Stark is pulling back. And GG gets called. We committed too much to the mutas, and they do not snowball out of control. Dark takes game number 1. GG. That was a very intense game. Very intense game there towards the end, and Lambo was very committed. He had a very low worker count. I think it was 47, right? Like around 50. Double down on mass muta. It was then and there we had to end the game. Otherwise, he would be outscaled. I think main muta doesn't have that much longevity. Not in that kind of game state. Not against the army, the economy of Dark. And with that, Dark does take game number 1. But that was pretty close. That was pretty back and forth. They both had their moments. The drop lord play from Lambo. The tunneling claw roaches. The initial muta switch as well. The base snipes. It was good stuff. Good stuff there from Lambo. Personally, I would not be surprised if we go all the way to the ace match here. Go all the way to game 3, but we'll see. See. It's on our players. It's on Lambo to fight back. I want to believe. I do want to believe. So we are loading into this. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of our Kiona, we have the South Korean Zerg player, the red Zerg representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the top right-hand corner. Top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the German Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. Go. The ZvZs are upon us. They are here, and yeah, Dark. Both players going for a hatch first. Again, I don't expect any kind of major deviations early on. I expect hatch gas pull into a third, you know, just standard play initially. Then in the mid game, that's when things can start popping off. And I do think that Lambo's mid game was stronger. I'll be honest, like Lambo, he had the better economy, he had the higher base count, he was able to achieve a little bit more here than his opponent. But as the game progressed, that's when Dark was able to get a little bit more, was able to settle into the game itself. He was able to get into a solid Roach Ravager count, max out. And of course, in the lead up into the Muta versus Muta, Dark was able to look a little more comfortable. We'll see. We'll see if that continues to be the case here. We'll see if Lambo can fight back. I want to believe he can. I want to believe we can get an ace match. For now, again, everything is looking normal. Another thing that we could do here in the ZvZ is rush into the gold. I'm curious if Lambo is willing to be that crazy to try to take that gold base early on, which we have seen in ZvZs before. I know a laser is more than willing to do so. I'm sure Lambo as well. So now link speed is on the way for both players. And we are just droning. Again, Alcyone is a larger map, has a long rush distance by ground, has a lot of bases to be taken. This does lead, or does lend nicely towards a later game that is usually applicable to a lot of these other matchups. I don't know how applicable that is to ZvZ, just because sure these bases are very defendable, but it's not like we have additional like SimCity to use to our advantage here, or for Zerg players to use it to their advantage. I'm curious if we try to go into faster mutas. I wouldn't be opposed to faster mutas here on a map like this. As for now, Lambo throws down his Bailey nest. Dark has money for his own, but he isn't. I see Lings on the way, a couple of drones as well. But yeah, Dark skipping the Bailey nest. Uh-oh. He's going to be hiding some of his extra Lings here, but I think, yeah, he's massing Lings. He's going for a big Ling flood. No Bailey nest for good reason. We're going straight for the Roach one instead. Dark, his goal here is to be hyper-aggressive. Hyper-aggressive, forcing back Lambo, keeping him on the back foot while he gets into the Roaches behind this. Oh boy. Now, if Dark trades too poorly, he will trigger a counterattack, and Lambo can get out of control. So Dark has to be very careful here with his Lings. Very careful here. Bailings are morphing in. Dark trying to find a way into the natural, threatening the queens. So far, good splits from Lambo. Keeping up. His Bailing's alive. Ooh. So far, so good. Lambo, he does hold on to his bases. But again, Dark isn't looking to kill. He isn't looking to kill the queens or to really get too much done. He's just keeping his opponent busy while he gets into Roaches. Roaches are on the way. Work counts are comparable, but Lambo, he will have a better economy. He is droning a little bit harder. There is Roaches on the way. Dark now droning. And ideally, he would have liked to have forced out a little bit of extra Ling Bane from Lambo. As it looks like he's going to get the queen. Up! Barely doesn't. Some of the Lings, they do get caught out. Nice catch from Lambo. That's Dark. Threatens a dive to the natural, does pull back. Does not get anything. Doesn't get the queens. Doesn't get any drones. Lambo doing well. Does get eyes on the Roaches, and likewise Lambo getting to his own Roach production as well. A slightly better economy. Just slightly. As we are just done with the Ling Bane portion, now getting into Roaches. Now getting into Roach v Roach. Dark already pushing out. Looking at the unit count here, we have a pretty comparable army size for Lambo. It looks like Dark is just posturing. He's just droning heavily behind this, trying to get his economy up and running. No one investing into a lair yet. both players, yeah, were committing. I was like, we should have seen a lair by now. Hatch tech from Lambo, hatch tech from Dark. It's all about the Ling Roach. Let's go. Banelings are on the way. Lambo, he's going to be committing. And Dark did make an extra wave of drones. Can he hold? Can he survive without Banelings? This is going to be a tough hold for Dark. Again, these things, they're going to do such a great job here, just buffering for the army of Lambo. He knows he has a massive advantage. It's pushing on forward. They get a full surround as well. And Dark just cannot keep up with this. And it's going to be rolling on in. The Roach army on the right-hand side gets completely cleaned up, and we're going for the surround. Lambo, he's breaking through into the third base. Shutting down the Roaches, getting us up with the Queens. And this hatchery is going to go down. Dark being punished for skipping that Bailey nest, being punished for his build, for his opener. He's trying to break free, but GG gets called, and Lambo, he fights back, taking game number 2. Let's go. Also, I apologize. I missed out on the score. I did forget to add the scoring game. I'm waking up, Papi. I'm waking up. I'll fix it for the next game. We're tied up 1-1. 1-1. GG. Again, Dark trying to be a little bit cheeky there, trying to cut corners, rush into Roaches, and try to force his opponent to overcommit. And Lambo did overcommit, and he made use of it. Just made nothing but Lings, Roaches, and Banelings. So able to break on through. Again, without defensive Banelings, the Lings of the opposing player does so much here to support Roaches, to get surrounds, to lock down the army, to buffer, to support. And Dark without Banelings, there was no way for him to hold that. No shot. Now we're getting into the ace match. Here we go, spawning in the top right hand corner of Equilibrium. We have the South Korean Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Dragon Kaiser Gaming, being forced into the ace match. It is Dark. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the German Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Shopify Rebellion, tying up the series 1-1 in that last game. It is Lambo. And this time, we should have Bailey Nest from both players. We're loading into Equilibrium, another quite large map actually. A lot of bases to be taken. There's the gold base as well, which could come into play. I'm curious if anyone feels adventurous enough to rush into that gold as a natural or as a third. Is very possible to take here in a ZvZ. I mean, difficult to hold on to, but if you can pop off. Speaking of, Lambo, where are we going? Speaking of the gold base, Lambo, he's going to be sending out his drone, and he is going right for the gold. Let's go. Lambo taking the initiative, and we'll see if Dark can punish this. Now, when it comes to the gold base, specifically on Equilibrium, this usually in ZvZ leads into an all-in, leads into just mass aggression from the Blue Zerg player, from Lambo. Just because he's going to have a boosted economy, a better economy than that of Dark, and you want to make use of it in a mirror matchup. You want to make use of it as quickly as possible and keep the pressure on and go for a Ling Roach Rush, essentially. That's typically where this goes, especially with the Rich Vesting Gas Geyser. But we'll see if that's going to be the case. Like we've seen Lambo do this before. We'll see if he'll do it again. Meanwhile, Dark going for a Hatch Gas Pool. Overlord is moving out. He's going to eventually get eyes on the lack of expansion, and that is going to be the tell that there is the gold base instead. The Overlord is floating on in. Gold base is being taken. I'm loving these Lings that are going to be skirting around the edge of the map towards the side of Dark. And Dark, he does confirm the lack of expansion. Second Overlord comes in, and he will get eyes on the creep. Bailey Nest is already on the way here, so Lambo going for a Ling Bane bust here, already amassing Lings in the main base, waiting for Ling speed to kick in. Lambo committing. Dark going straight. Okay, he's going for the third base. He's droning. Where's the Bailey Nest? No, okay, we do have a Bailey Nest here from Dark. He needs it because, mate, the Lings, they've been revealed. This is a late Bailey Nest, by the way, from Dark. I do think he wanted to be greedy, and I think he assumed that it was going to be a Roach Rush. I don't blame him. I mentioned it at the time that typically this does lead into Roach Rushes. But this Bailey Nest is late, and Lambo, he's already here. And is this how it ends? Is this how it ends as we do dive towards that natural base? The Lings are getting on top of the Queens. Defensive Lings are on the way. Bailey Nest still in production again. It was delayed. And Lambo, he's knocking down the Queens one after the other. Breaking into that main base. Doesn't want to waste the Bailings. Ooh, good connections here. The Bailings of Dark are going to be denied. But is Lambo running out of steam? Dark, can he hold? So far, no Bailings for either player. Dark with Bailings on the low ground. So exposed. Investing into that third base. Lambo still all in. And there it is. That's 7 Bailings in production. But Dark will have defensive Bailings of his own. It's going to come down to the control. Will come down to the micro. We can't waste Bailings from either player. We can't waste them. Up. One Bailing is denied. Trading 1 for 1. Bailings of Lambo going to be rolling on in. Oof. Trying to get some trades here. It looks like a couple of Bailings are going to get picked off. We're going for the mineral line. We're going right for the main. Waddling into the main base. There's no queen. Lings are backing off. Ooh, and we do get 7 worker kills at the same time. A big Ling counter-attack here at the goal base. Lambo being forced back. Being forced back home. Dark buying a lot of he's buying a lot of time here. A lot of breathing room. Still very intense. Dark with a better economy. With soon to be a larger army as well. Lambo isn't making use of that goal base. Trading 3 Lings for 1 Bailing. Again, Lambo is running out of steam. Oh god. Has to be so careful with his movement here. Oh no! Oh my god. As he does take a Bailing to the face. And with that, I do think that Dark should be able to hold here. Plenty of Bailings are left over, are available. Yeah, and Dark forces this back. Lambo, no mining whatsoever at the gold. Lings, they flood into the main base as well. Lambo, he has nothing left. Drones are going down, one after the other. And Dark, he has done it. He has held. Things are looking terrifying at the start. They were looking terrifying in the beginning. But Lambo wasn't able to pull it off. Oh, the Bailey. It's going to be 12 worker kills here. Lambo is down to 2 drones. 2 workers is all he has left. GG gets called, and Dark will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the semifinals. GG. Oh. GG, well played. That was a little bit scary. Again, the Bailings of Dark were late. The Queens went down. If you remember, though, Lambo, with his first 4 Bailings, he did waste 2 Bailings on the Queens. I don't think that was ideal. I do think we needed to keep those Bailings alive a little bit longer to either trade with Lings or with the drones. From there, Dark was able to stabilize. He was able to hold on, get into his own Bailing production as well, and eventually defend. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to Dark. My condolences to Lambo, but wasn't a bad series. Was very back and forth, very entertaining. GG. GG, well played. Ooh, I hope Lambo isn't feeling too bothered by this series, just because, you know, Dark is one of the best Zerg players in the world. Lambo held his own. Held his own for a time there against Dark. As Dark advances on into the next round, where I believe he's going to be facing off against Max Pax.